More and more often, we hear that the crisis was over before its time. Let me point out the fact that Trump may start telling the manufacturers who does what. When we're in the middle of the crisis, the best investor in the world, Warren Buffett, is buying shares of Delta Airlines. Central banks and governments of almost all the countries are taking measures to save the global economy, and it makes sense that they began to bear fruit. Welcome to Coin Post. The questions of this video are: when to buy? What exactly to buy? Bitcoin, gold, oil futures, or stocks? You can decide yourself, but when should you do it? Because you don't want to miss the bottom. More and more often, we hear that the crisis was over before its time. We reached the market bottom, and it's high time to put money into the market if you don't want to miss such a unique opportunity. Even Warren Buffett started buying. What more proof do you need? And as always, before moving on to the video, I want to ask everyone who has not subscribed to our channel yet to do it right now. Join our community. And let's begin. It all started with Bitcoin. In our last episode on the forecasts from various traders, we had a scenario where the price would recover up to $6,000 and then even go higher. Time will tell whether it comes true or not. But the fact is that in more than a day the price increased by more than $1,000, and at the peak the growth was as much as 35%. It looks quite promising at the other markets too. For example, the key US indices like the S&P 500 and Dow Jones stopped going down. Well, it didn't quite stop, but on the chart we can see what looks like a flat market and the beginning of consolidation. Maybe it was the Fed's measures to inject the market with liquidity, that is, print new dollars non-stop, that made it happen. But it was also Donald Trump's decree, who has granted himself extraordinary powers to manage the economy manually. Let me point out the fact that Trump may start telling the manufacturers who does what. He didn't do it yet, that is, everything works as it should. But if there's a shortage of gas masks in the country, the president has the right to oblige some clothing factory, for example, to start making masks instead of producing underpants. It sounds wonderful and scary. Military authority, we're fighting an unprecedented enemy. But as a matter of fact, it's the production of masks instead of underpants, and not today, but maybe later if it's necessary. However, judging from the prices, such claims can calm down the markets. And even the oil price, that at some point fell below $25 per barrel for the Brent company, is now showing a mere recovery. It hit $30 and it traded at more than $28 while making this episode. This story is also related to the US. After all, America turned to Saudi Arabia with a call to reduce oil production. And the media also reported on the new US sanctions against the Russian oil industry. It looks like bidding. You cut back production, we will crush your competitor with sanctions. But that's a whole different kettle of fish. And so we are over the moon. Nothing else is going down, and almost tomorrow it's gonna go up again. Whether it is so, I'm gonna tell you at the end of the video, but now I'd like to remind you that we need your likes. And we're moving on to Warren Buffett. As the well-known principle says, don't listen to what the rich say, watch what they do. And then out of the blue, when we're in the middle of the crisis, the best investor in the world, Warren Buffett, is buying shares of Delta Airlines. It would seem that this is a 100% signal to enter the market, but let's dig deeper. The purchase amount is $45 million. It's a lot of money. But we recently published an article about Warren Buffett on our Telegram channel. You can find the link in the description. And there's the interesting fact there that since 2018, Buffett has been sitting on suitcases with cash and accumulating. As he says, nothing is worthy of a purchase. Besides, as stated in this article, Berkshire Hathaway has $128 billion in cash. So having $128 billion, Warren Buffett buys stocks for only $45 million, and then it's the company which shares he already has in his portfolio. Thus, the best investor in the world is just averaging out. After all, Delta Airlines stocks have literally collapsed in recent days. But Buffett likely bought the stocks for the higher price, and now he's betting that after they lift restriction on international air travel, Delta Airlines shares will show growth. It's no surprise that Buffett is gonna buy something else in his portfolio soon, because some companies fell in price to an outrageous amount. Take Boeing, which is now in the public eye. But it doesn't mean at all that the crisis is over and will no longer go down. What makes me think so? I'm gonna share it with you in the conclusions. Central banks and governments of almost all the countries are taking measures to save the global economy, and it makes sense that they began to bear fruit. But I cannot believe that we stopped falling until I see the result. Because printing new dollars is fine, but the airports are closed, tourism is put on hold, the work of cafes and shops is limited, and most importantly, the demand for absolutely everything is plummeting. And then everything is interconnected. The fewer orders, the lower the production. The economy slows down, salary falls, and people buy even less. The longer humanity is occupied with taking care of their health, the higher is the economic collapse. It's also going to affect all the markets. And when companies publish reports on the revenue loss, their stock prices are going to drop again. And the news about the experimental vaccine is not gonna solve the problem, because they still need to check it, make enough of it, and get people vaccinated. It takes a lot of time, during which a typical business will be put on hold. Therefore, it's too early to relax, as we may well get another bottom in the stock market. And one more bottom as a gift for Bitcoin also seems real, so as not to relax. Now it's the time to remind you, my dear viewer, of the opportunity to click on the subscribe button right now. Our new episode is gonna be released in a day. I'm asking for a couple more minutes of your time for the final word. At the end of this video, I'd like to say the following. I guarantee that below this video, you're gonna find a comment saying that if they say it's going down, then it's time to get it. Like, do the opposite and you'll be happy. You cannot rule out the possibility that, due to some circumstances that are currently not obvious to us, prices are gonna go up. But I did my own analysis, compared the facts, and made a decision. The point is always to act that way. Don't trust someone's opinion. Make your own conscious choice in a given situation. Leave the comments on what you think about the crisis situation and where is its bottom. Well, that's it for today. Thank you for watching. It's the Coin Post. Subscribe and get enlightened.